Hello, Batavia Mayor Jeff Schielke speaking to you on Friday, February 11th, 2022. And like all days in this past year, this is a crazy day as far as things that are happening in town, and things are popping up and all kinds of excitement's taking place. I just was outside, and the Batavia and Geneva fire departments have 4 fire trucks parked out on the depot pond, and to their credit, they are practicing river rescues as it applies to somebody who would fall through the ice. And the pond has been impacted by the winter weather getting warmer, and so there's some cracking in the pond, and it's not skatable at the moment, but the firemen are out there in their suits that they would wear in the event of something. And of course, this is kind of a safer area to do it in because the actual pond depth is only 2 or 3 feet. But Batavia and Geneva, and if something were to happen, I'm sure both of us would be there together, and whoever's town it occurred in. But the fire department today is practicing river rescues on the ice. So my hat off to them for kind of a challenging situation, but good training, and it speaks well for how well trained our fire departments are that serve us in this area. I guess I want to talk a little bit today about the governor's order that he's releasing, the ability that requests that people wear masks all the time. And so we are told that that's going to start to phase in here over the next few days. And so, Batavia's had a long-standing policy that we encourage people to wear the mask because of the fact that there has been COVID in Batavia. We have lost residents who have died because of it. I've been to several funerals over the past year and a half of people who unfortunately could not overcome the COVID strike. And so we just want everybody to be as careful as they can. That being said, there's been a long debate at the state level as to whether or not it's legally required that people wear masks, and we've been through all kinds of debates and courtroom challenges in other parts of the state. And I think we reached the opinion at the city of Batavia that we would encourage people to wear the mask, and hopefully they will or would, but that we're not out here writing tickets or issuing any type of warning notices or anything else to any restaurant or people in business. Many businesses ask you to wear the mask, and we would hope you would respect their wishes. But we're not in the process of hauling anybody to court because this is a very debated situation, and I could say more about it, but there's no real reason to. It is what it is. Hopefully we are getting on the other side of this. I think last year we thought we were, and we weren't. But we hope we are, and that the days ahead will be a better thing for people in Batavia. I have had several people tell me of stories about what had happened to them and their families and whatever, and I've had several people just recently in the last few days tell me they had went to the doctor for a checkup, and right away they get a call that they need to come back, or while they're there they give you a COVID test that looks like you may have it. So several people have kind of hunkered down and, canceled things that they were hoping to do with other folks and whatever have you while they awaited the results of their COVID test. Fortunately, everybody I know that got involved in that type of situation was later found that they didn't have COVID. So hopefully that's just another sign of the COVID thing kind of passing us by. But that is a big thing around town. As you know, we've had some people protest the mask idea in downtown Batavia on several locations. Batavia Police Department has been cooperative, I believe, with them, and we've tried to encourage everybody to express their rights, but also be friendly and not get themselves in any type of confrontation with anybody. And hopefully that's kind of phasing out now that this newest turn by the governor has come out. So we're looking forward to hopefully getting behind this, and I just hope medical science is getting us there, because it certainly has been an ongoing effort. And I know there are those in the region who are writing histories about it for future generations to read about, and so we'll see how that all comes together. Speaking of writing things, I've already talked about once, but we have several Batavians who have either written or are writing books. And one of them is this one called 26 Points of Light. It's available online, and it was written by a very prominent Batavian, Maureen O'Brien, which illustrates her journey through overcoming a cancer diagnosis. And it's got a lot of wonderful sharing comments in here from a variety of people, many from Batavia. And it's a great book. I would encourage folks to take a look at it if you get the chance. We have another former Batavian. I guess I shouldn't say who his name is because I don't know if he wants this out yet, but I've been almost spending daily emails with this gentleman. He does not live in Illinois, he lives out of town, but he's writing a history of Batavia high school sports in the 1960s. And he's got some really intriguing data and information and stuff that many people have never seen before. But as you may or may not know, Batavia High School during the period from 60 to 69 had a number of individuals who ended up having some type of professional sports connection. And so all this is going to be put together in a book, and it'll be coming out, I don't know when, but I know the gentleman is working on it, and so Batavia will be openly out there to find out what's going on. One thing I want to throw on this report today is that sometime during the early 1960s, there was a cousin of Ken Hubbs, who was the star rookie second baseman for the Chicago Cubs, who got later, shortly after his career began, and he was quite successful, he got killed in a small plane crash, I believe, out in Utah. But while he was in Chicago, one of the seasons he was here, it was discovered that one of his cousins lived in Batavia, and I believe it was on South Van Buren Street. And there were several people that got to go down to the cousin's house and have their autograph or picture taken with Ken Hubbs. And that's a story I think we're interested in seeing put into this 1960s Batavia sports book. But we're having a hard time coming up with the name of the cousin. And I'm wondering if anybody watching this, I'm told that he may have lived around the intersection at South Van Buren and Adams Street. And that nice guy, he apparently moved someplace else and is not there anymore. But we'd like to know the name of that person. So if you do, could you give me a call at the office and I can do some further research and get into some old records and find out where this gentleman lived. That's a thing that we'd like to chase down. Another thing that I've spent a lot of time this last week involving situations involving the Batavia school system, and I just want to share that there is a positive thing happening with the Batavia school system here in the very near term. We want to encourage all citizens of Batavia to think about nominating somebody for the Batavia Schools Hall of Honor. And this is a wonderful way to acknowledge the following. A great accomplishment by a BHS alumni, but you have to have graduated from Batavia High School more than 15 years ago to be considered. You can also be nominated if you've been a great contributor to District 101 by the Batavia's high school staff or staff member. And if you've been a tremendous supporter of Batavia sports, you can be a friend of Batavia's sports program, and you can be nominated for the honor by that. The nomination application can be found on the District 101 website, which is bps101.net. And there's more instructions at that location. You can see on the screen, that the screen includes the nomination form and whatever have you. They all have to be filed. The nominations have to be filed at Superintendent Lisa Hitchens' office by March 11th. And we are encouraging people who would like to nominate somebody who has made a difference in the world of education and in the world around us, who's a graduate connected with Batavia High School, to file an application in support of somebody. So I guess I'd like to do that and encourage people to apply or file nominations. I've talked to several people who probably should be in their Hall of Honor, and they've told me they would prefer not to be nominated. So that is, they just want to be in the background. And some of these are wondrous and wonderful people, but they just want to stay quiet. So I think everybody has to acknowledge their wishes. Probably the last thing I want to talk about, because I think this is probably going to be a great conversation piece over the next few days. One of the most popular items that we have in downtown Batavia is the painted bulldog, which sits right at the corner of Island Avenue and Houston Street, right outside the doors of our city council, or down in the front of our city council chambers, and kind of kitty corner from Windmill Grill and Pizzeria on the city side of the street. Well, yesterday a crew arrived and they dismantled the Batavia Bulldog and was put into a truck and removed from the site. Now, I'm pleased to report that the Bulldog has not been stolen. He is not going to reappear. It was discovered he had a couple of minor cracks and little bit of damage to him, so the company that made him has agreed to come and get him, which they did, and they claim they have the industrial processes available to them so that they can repair the dog. And this is, as many of you have probably done this already, or this is a very popular feature for people to bring small children down to, and children get up and sit on top of the dog and pictures get taken. That's probably happened thousands of times. It's become one of the Batavia showpieces, and it's not there at the moment, but it is going to return in a couple of weeks, and we'll be back in full form in a repaired sense of, we're not changing its design or its artwork or anything else. It just needs a couple of support features to keep up the rough and tough life it lives here, with everybody and the brother wanting to have pictures taken with it. So between the Bulldog and the number of people who go down and stand in front of the depot pond, both in the winter and in the summer, and have 50th wedding anniversary pictures taken, or wedding pictures taken, or prom night, that place is abuzz with people all dressed up in the tuxes and whatever, having their pictures taken there. I'm sure there's now been thousands of pictures taken of that form. So I'm glad and very pleased that some of the things we now have in downtown Batavia are the backdrop and the background for some interesting, memorable pictures, which people will keep for the rest of their lives and pass on to future generations. And 100 years from now, there'll be a lot of people that will still know where the dog was and where the depot pond is and how long it's been used by people that wanted to have their pictures taken. So we've got a lot to be proud of in Batavia, and I'm glad to talk about these things because they illustrate the pride that Batavia has, and I think it speaks well for our town that we are a town that is truly blessed to have some very generous and lovable and contributing citizens who don't want their names known but are ready to write checks or stand up and work for a program or an idea. And we're just a nice town to live in for that respect, and that's, I will tell you, I think that's one of the reasons that we continue to see Batavia's population steadily grow, because people come in and see this and say, gee, this is a nice town. I think I'd like to live here. It's got a little small town atmosphere to it that really speaks well to the American experience. So that's my words for this week. I'd be glad to hear what you have to say. If you got any feedback, send me an email or call down to the office. And certainly I'll be back next week to share some late breaking, whatever it's going to be, news at that time. Have a great week.